Good evening, one and all. I hope you've certainly kept yourselves busy these past few weeks. I know I have. These have been some hectic weeks, I can tell you, but nevertheless, here we are. Today, I want to talk to you about The Lion in Winter. It came out in 1968. It's a relatively unknown film in spite of the fact that it is peopled by an all star cast. Peter O'Toole uh, plays Henry II, King of England. Katharine Hepburn plays his queen, Eleanor of Aquitaine. Timothy Dalton, extremely young in this film, plays Philip, the King of France. And Richard the Lionheart, the future Richard the Lionheart, is played by Anthony Hopkins in what I believe is Hopkins's first film. So overall, it is a puzzlement as to why this film is so unknown to so many people. Maybe because of its subject matter, this is a historic film, not an epic by any sense. It is based on a play, so it has this very contained area wherein the events unfold. As a matter of fact, the entire film, I think, covers the events of a single day wherein a lot happens. And let me say this, if you thought your family has got problems, then you need to take a look at this particular family. I mean, for those of you who don't know, uh, Richard the Lionheart and later King John, who also weasels his way into the events of this picture, are brothers. As I said, for those of you who don't know, and for those of you who don't know who King John is, he is the English monarch who signed the Magna Carta in the early 13th century. I don't want to start handing out dates. He is also the monarch who was made famous, or I should say infamous, in the Robin Hood legend. But enough of history. The story of the film is relatively straightforward. King Henry, like I said, played by Peter O'Toole, convenes Christmas court at the castle of Chinon in English occupied France, wherein he has two main objectives. The first is to reach a settlement with the new king of France, Philip. The second is to name an heir, and he basically has to choose between two of his three remaining sons. Yes, the middle one, his name is Jeffrey. He's kind of in the middle. He's never really mentioned all that much. And he's not too happy about that, but you'll have to see the film in order to see how he takes it. And so the choice for who is to inherit this vast network of lands built under Henry II comes between Richard, who is the favorite of Eleanor, and John, who is the favorite of Henry. And needless to say, things get complicated. The film may sound like it unravels a simple affair, but this is far from the case. The script is brilliantly written. In fact, this is apart from the performances, which, I mean, are amazing. The script is the second best thing about the film. It is uncannily written. It truly is a work of genius in terms of how it weaves together all these various relationships between the people in this movie and how events unfold seemingly strictly through the dialogue and the monologues. There isn't a lot of exposition, but don't let the history of the subject of this film deter you from watching this. In fact, I watched this film a long time ago. For the first time I watched it a long time ago, I did watch it again a few weeks back, and I knew nothing about these people. I only knew John and Richard, from the legends, and because Richard the Lionheart is so famous. I knew nothing about Henry II. I knew nothing about Eleanor of Aquitaine. I knew nothing about that historical time period overall. So, yeah, but nevertheless, I had no trouble understanding what was going on. even though sometimes you will find yourself asking, do any of these people really like each other, or do any of these people really hate each other? So, what's going on with the relationships? It is a puzzling film in terms of how it portrays the emotions, if you can call them that, that these people tend to show. Is it just for show? I can't really find the proper words to express it, but it is ingenious in how the scriptwriter deals with such complex subject matter as human relationships and filial relationships, for that matter. And in terms of the family aspect, this film really does put everything into question. What the value of family, if there is any value in family at all, and what really, what is the real connection between two people? There is one scene wherein Eleanor says that she doesn't really like her children. She confesses this to Henry when they are sitting alone, and then she turns to Henry's, well, mistress, quote unquote, I guess would be the best thing to call her, to Henry's mistress, Alice, who is the fiance of, essentially, she's the fiance of Henry's heir. Whosoever Alice marries essentially inherits the throne. And she turns to her and tells her, "You're the only child that I love, the only child I love, the only child I raise but didn't bear," which struck me as a very interesting sentence for, a mother to say to another person about her children, considering the value most of us put on maternal love, most of us, that is. And so, for all these reasons and many, many more, I do recommend this film wholeheartedly. Do not let the subject matter deter you. You do not need to know history in order to understand what goes on in this film. This is not an epic. This is a human drama. I don't know if I would go as far as to call it a tragedy. I think you'd have to know the history in order to recognize it as a tragedy, but nevertheless, it is a very potent, dramatic work. Therefore, I do recommend that you watch it if you are in the mood to watch a quality piece of cinema. And that's all I have to say for the present. I hope everything fares well with your affairs in the coming weeks, and I hope to be able to speak to you again very, very soon. Uh, that being said, have a wonderful afternoon, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.